All right, welcome back to the channel. So it looks like we're going to get CHARLO versus Brian Castano 2 on May 14th. And CHARLO says no more excuses. It's go time. I'm going to break it down for y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please sure that you like and subscribe to the channel to get all your latest boxing news. With that being said, CHARLO versus Brian Castano 2 is happening May 14th. I cannot wait to see this fight. I'm picking CHARLO to beat Brian Castano. CHARLO said there's always have been a childhood dream to become undisputed. And CHARLO didn't like the fact that Brian Castano had to pull out of the fight due to injury, and CHARLO didn't believe that Brian Castano was injured, and he petitioned to show Brian Castano his medical records, and that kind of fueled the rage of CHARLO. And we see CHARLO does very good when he feels like the fight is close, or not with the fight is close. He feels like if he's losing the fight but he won, he always good at coming back towards his second matches and redeeming himself, especially in the Tony Harrison fight when he lost. And a lot of people arguably say he won, but he lost, and he redeemed himself by knocking Tony Harrison out towards the championship rounds. And I think that he's going to do the same thing to Brian Castano. I think that Brian Castano has a disadvantages, a size disadvantage and a reach disadvantages. He has the same arm reach as Manny Pacquiao and Gervonta Tank Davis, and he's damn near the same size as Gervonta Tank Davis and Manny Pacquiao because he's 5'7". But CHARLO, he's going to have to make adjustments. We know Brian Castano reminds a lot of throwback and diehard boxer fan of Marco El Chino Montana. They both have a weird orthodox style. They throw weird hooks, looping hooks, and weird jabs through different angles, and it kind of confused the boxer. It's very hard to parry a style like that. And CHARLO was trying to parry those punches, and he couldn't get it the timing and the distance right because Brian Castano has that weird style like El Chino Montana, and we see El Chino Montana, Marcos Montana defeated Adrian Broner with that style. But we know when he got to Floyd Mayweather, that was all wrong for Marco Montana. But I think CHARLO can knock Brian Castano out. I think he can knock him out with an uppercut, because Brian Castano sometimes is very stationary and he leaves his defense careless sometimes when he throws those looping shots, and he'll be wide open for an uppercut. I hope Derrick James sees that in Brian Castano, which Derrick James is a very good trainer, so I'm assuming him and CHARLO is going to make the proper adjustments to beat Brian Castano. And the biggest mistake that CHARLO was making in the fight was that he was leaning on the ropes and giving Brian Castano advantages. And I don't know why he was trying to get on the ropes. You can't allow a pressure fighter like Brian Castano to put you on the ropes because you have a high intensity to see shots, don't see shots, power shots that you don't see, and those be the worst ones that hurt. And I think CHARLO, what he's going to do this time is I think he's going to be looking to box Brian Castano. I think this fight could go the same way as he fought Gabe Rosado. I think Brian Castano is going to be pressing CHARLO. I think CHARLO is going to be looking to sit down on some of his punches and move to stay away from Brian Castano's punching. I think Brian Castano is going to be looking to get under CHARLO punches. But if CHARLO pops that jab and shovel jab, he can control the distance. He can keep Brian Castano away, and he could keep Brian Castano in the center of the ring. Brian Castano has the most success when he's getting his opponent towards the ring and cutting off the ring towards the corner. And I feel like that Brian Castano disadvantages is that he's not going to be able to fight CHARLO's fight due to the size and height disadvantage that he has. And the only way Brian Castano is going to win is he's going to have to tighten up on his defense. I don't think that Brian Castano is going to make the proper adjustments in this fight. I think that Brian Castano has already showed us the best version of Brian Castano. If Brian Castano showed us something different or make the adjustments, I think that Brian Castano could potentially win the fight. But if he does the same thing like he did in the first fight, he's not going to win. CHARLO, I believe, has a higher ring IQ than Brian Castano. I think CHARLO is just a better athlete than Brian Castano. No slight to Brian Castano, but I just think that there's levels to the sport of boxing for a reason, and Brian Castano is very, very lucky that he made it that far in junior middleweight at his size. And it's not no slight to the short guys, but when you got a better athlete and who's really want to get something, who's dedicated to the sport of boxing like JERMELL CHARLO is, to achieve his childhood dream, which is to become undisputed, that's a hard will to break. And I think JERMELL CHARLO is going to be the big dog to take all those belts at the end of the day. And I find it truly hard to believe that Brian Castano really did miss weight. A lot of people say that Brian Castano blew up to 200 something pounds. I don't even know how it's possible, but he got careless if that's true, but I don't believe it's true. Said he had a bicep injury. But at the end of the day, I'm picking JERMELL CHARLO to win Brian Castano. I have JERMELL CHARLO either stopping Brian Castano towards the championship rounds. You guys know 10, 11, and 12. Either in one of those rounds. I would be so shocked if he get Brian Castano out earlier in round 8 or 9. But it wouldn't be a surprise to me. And then we'll have our 7th undisputed champion finally at junior middleweight. With that being said, guys, it is what it is. Oh, yeah. And also, May 14th, be looking forward to this fight. JERMELL CHARLO says, no more excuses. I'm coming for undisputed. And there ain't no hiding out. I'm just emphasizing, guys. With that being said, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.